And we are live. Greetings and salutations, Focus Up family. Welcome to the August 17, 2024 installment of the Focus Up Show. We thank you for tuning in with us live Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube and various other platforms, or catching up with us on replay. And we ask that you click that like, that subscribe, that bell, and share to support and maintain your weekly Focus Up fix. I am Mr. Nice Guy, nice as in the word saint spelled backwards. And today, my co-hosts are Mr. Floyd X, and we got Brother Student X today, star of Mutant Politics that's going to be taking place after this show at 10:30 a.m. We're missing a few soldiers. This is the week that infamous El Pooh has to do what he has to do, and First Lady J is taking care of some family business. I don't know what's going on with Brother Walk. Hopefully, we'll see. Hey, shout out to Brother Joseph Youssef White. That's the dude. So,
Yes, sir.
You're going to be calling me a super liberal today, but I'm not. But that's okay. Still love you, bro.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Let me tell you.
So let's get to the get. Well, first of all, let me say what's going on with you, Brother Floyd X.
I'm chilling, brother. I'm ready to go. Just want to give Mr. Nice Guy a shout out. Say thank you for all the hard work you do here at the Focus Up Network. It's greatly appreciated. You keep the machine running, brother. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate that. You're the backbone, the spine, and everything, and you put all this stuff together greatly. And on that same note, to Student X today, our Minister of Information, he's always putting in that hard work, always challenging me in a respectful, intelligent way. Unlike some people, but that's cool. I still love that other guy too. What's going on with you, Student X?
Oh, bro, all is well, man. All is well. I like to also just throw a shout out to you both, for keeping this show going as long as you have. I like to throw a shout out to those who tune in live, for sure, like La Brea, Brother Yusuf, and others. You know what I mean? And I'm just eager to have a discussion with the brothers. And shout out to those that's not here today. Walk, sister, you know what I mean? And of course, the infamous El Pooh, So let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. So, and shout out to Big Cuz. He's always got some great comments in the comments.
For sure, Big Cuz.
So what's going on, Floyd X? What we got first up?
We're gonna start off with the RIPs to our brother, Mr. Famous Amos, brother. He passed away this I forget what day it was, but let me pull his image up.
August 13th in Honolulu.
August 13th. Okay. Yeah, shout out to the brother. We know he created those famous Amos cookies. I used to love those when I was a child and used to eat them up. And I know I don't know the full story. I've seen the documentary, but I haven't watched it in a while. Where they took the name and the company from him or something. He sold it. Y'all remember that story?
Yeah, basically he ended up losing it, and it's corporate. They took it over, and of course they stopped using all his great recipes. He's using real butter and all this other stuff. So they just sort of like running with his product. He ultimately tried to do his own thing, some like a muffin company or something like that after the fact. But that brother is legendary. I always think about his appearance on Taxi. Latka was creating some cookies they didn't realize that it was made with like some type of drug. And everybody's going crazy for him. And he had like a hallucination, and the hallucination was famous Amos floating down from the sky and giving him business advice. So, shout out to this brother.
Yes, sir. Cool.
Yeah, the brother was on the Jeffersons as well, which was cool because, he's a real life black entrepreneur, on the show about a fictional black business tycoon, so it was cool to see that. And in fairness, the brother did sell off, some of his shares to a private equity fund. He got paid, and this is a typical insight that, in business in general, and then of course they took the famous brand, and then of course made some changes and whatnot to make it more profitable and whatnot. And kept it changed obviously from that all natural that he was promoting back in the day. But ultimately the brother seemed to have lived a good life. I was I remember to a certain degree, but I remember he was a cookie dude, but then of course in passing made me go revisit some of the articles and information out there about the brother, and he was definitely a pioneer, and definitely was someone for us to look up to and study, even as we move in this world today, so definitely RIP to our brother, Mr. Amos.
Yes, sir. Cool. Salute to the brother.
Brother Yusef has a comment here. What do you say? He had a hot cookie store in downtown Oakland. Cookie was fire. Yeah, so that's what that all natural stuff will do for you. What do we got up next, Mr. Floyd X?
All right. First, it looked like my computer trying to freeze up on me. It's like going slow. I'm probably gonna switch it over real quick. But right now we got the white officer Connor Grubb indicted for shooting Takaya Young. Pull that sister image up.
Now we did
Young.
Go
ahead.
I was saying that we did this. We covered this about a year ago. It's crazy that it's been taking a year to get to this point. But this was the sister that was accused of stealing some alcohol. She was in her car. She's pregnant. And the officer was like, basically trying to detain her. And what he did is he strategically moved in front of the car to basically give him an excuse to shoot her if she advanced. So that's basically what happened. And this is a situation where there's no way that this sister deserved to die over stealing some alcohol, and definitely her kid didn't deserve to die. I'm not gonna make any excuses for her life choices. She did some bad decisions and stuff like that. But again, there's a crime meet the punishment, and that's what this came down to. And after a year, they finally indicted this dude. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yes, sir. Well,
So if I could just chime in real quick, I remember when we covered this story, and I took a little heat because obviously I felt it was just a tragic loss of life. I'm not gonna, and I didn't then, nor will I now. Just say the officer was made the right decision. I believe he definitely overreacted. No doubt about it. But this is where respectfully, brother, sometimes people say that you lean a little bit more liberal, because the thing is that the shoplifting of the alcohol, it started the course of events, for sure. But what actually led to the shooting, was her, ignoring the officer's commands, and start moving the car in such a way to where it just even, it took so long was the officer basically, and others were saying that he feared for his life, due to the fact that she's in a vehicle, he's on foot, and he made a bad call. It was a bad call for a number of reasons. First of all, in the law enforcement community in general, a lot of these departments are trying to, deal with more liability, versus, curbing police misconduct and racism. But, a lot of these departments have said, look, man, we can't be firing, at or from moving vehicles because of the risk to innocent bystanders. And so that's really why it was a bad shooting, in particular, but it's just tragic because the sister absolutely did not have to die. And she could have made several decisions that would have changed this outcome altogether. And they're primarily, or the decisions that she could have made for herself that would have changed this whole reality that now, unfortunately, for her, her family that they had to live with.
And the child.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The unborn child, that was her family and whatnot, and like I said, in conclusion, I would say that the protocols being put in place by legislators are curbing police misconduct and racism and initiating accountability that in the past law enforcement has not had, and we mentioned this, or I mentioned it on maybe a show or two ago, where we were talking about something, I can't remember what it was, but I was talking about my position on the police that are in the ranks of the law enforcement community, and now I wasn't as clear then. I'm gonna be very clear now. Is 1/3 of those guys, the law enforcement community, they're there because it's a good paying job, right? You got another third who's there because they genuinely want to protect and serve, the community, that they live in or live near. And then, unfortunately, there's about a third of them who are the bad apples, the ones who want the power and the discretion afforded to them in that position, who might have, racist leanings and whatnot. That's a third of them. And unfortunately, those third, tend to overshadow the others, and they seem to be more powerful in the ranks, oftentimes, so,
They hide their racism behind that blue shield, that blue wall they talk about.
Blue wall of silence.
The blue wall of silence. They all stand with them, and they all don't want to say nothing. Just like we could see with the Sonia Massey case, when he walked outside, it was no officer that said, "Damn man, what the hell you shooting for?" Nobody sat there and got on camera and say that was dumb. It was obviously dumb, but nobody gonna say it because they by that blue wall of silence.
Right. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And that's what makes them all guilty. Because the thing about it is, if you're covering for them, you're in the same boat. So that's why it's like, I understand that most of the cops are not these wicked, evil people, but when they start co-signing and covering for the evil and wicked people, they join those ranks. That's just how that works.
Well, hey, be careful your position, brother, because we coming to Kamala in a second, and her stance with the Israeli lobby, and others, so be careful,
Bring it.
DEA or DA.
You and brother Youssef. Let's talk about it. But okay, what's up next?
All right, next up we got Susan Lawrence convicted for killing Ajike AJ Owens. I hope I'm saying that right. Ajike.
Now this is we covered this story as well. This was a situation where the kids were playing outside, and I don't know what triggered it. That the mother went knocking on this lady's door, but the mother want to go fuss with the people. With the lady behind the door, and she just literally just fired a shot into the door, ended up killing the mother.
Yeah. So no, I briefly remember the story, but what I don't remember was what the quote unquote ongoing dispute over the children playing near her home was all about. I feel like there's something that's key there, but whatever it was, the mother was hot as hell, went over, banging on the door, the whole 9 yards. And then ultimately the woman, convicted Susan, right, it would be Susan. She ended up calling the 911 first, saying that she was scared and whatnot, and then she ended up calling back later after she fired the shots through the door. But I want to sum up just ultimately what the prosecution has said, which just is really the heart of the matter. And she said, if Miss Owens would somehow have managed to bust through the locked, dead-bolted metal door, enter her house, and start coming at her, the defendant may have had a right to shoot, but that's not the situation we have here. So, yes, she should have been convicted, and the right outcome was here. And remember, this is Florida, where they have that stand your ground, law, that's significant. In fact, Benjamin Crump, who defended, who was for the family, in this particular case, of course, remember he lost to Trayvon Martin behind the same situation. So, this time around on this particular, verdict, that they got the right call for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, let me make sure I got it right. I'm not sure. I don't remember the story too clearly, but you saying she shot through the door. She was inside the door, outside the door.
No, she was inside her home, and the sister, was mad, presumably over something she said or did to the children. That the lady was mad. Of course, this is a little rough neighborhood, white lady. She was just scared in general. And maybe justifiably so. I don't know. But the sister came banging on the door, screaming, yelling, cussing the whole 9 yards, and the old lady was Susan. She was she said she was scared to death and whatnot, and then eventually she just fired shots through her own door from inside her house, striking the woman.
One shot.
So let's go through the comments real quick. We got Brother Youssef said they need these cases for election time. That's what took so long.
So go ahead, brother. Say that.
So they starting to bring it up now to the forefront. Okay.
Yes, sir. Say that.
Then we got Big Cuz says, keep your kids out my yard. I grew up with neighbors like that. And then he says, how many years she get? Okay,
I
brother.
don't think sentencing happened yet, but it's gonna be like 2030. I thought they said.
Yeah, they say she's looking at 30 years for found guilty of first-degree felony manslaughter. Lorenz faces 30 years in prison.
For,
So she's looking at up to 30 years in
manslaughter.
prison. That's what it says. It says
I'm
first
saying I'm
degree.
talking about 30 years. I'm not talking about. I understand that it's manslaughter. I'm just shocked that you get 30 years for that.
It says up to 30 years.
Mm-hmm. But
She
yeah,
got. Yeah.
I mean, look, the court process takes time. So, I mean, you want to talk about the indictment thing? Definitely. I mean, it shouldn't take you a year for that. But as far as that other process, I mean, that's just how long, stuff takes a lot to go through the court process.
All right. So we moving forward. Now you got the information on the Jordan Childs. You got
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna let's speak on the Jordan. We so how do you say that? So cleverly named it Child Please.
Yeah, child, please. So this sister, okay, so Jordan Childs, and she was one of the three sisters in that iconic Black Olympic moment, and she what happened was she did her routine, whatever, and she came up with a number that naturally put, I guess that put her at fifth. But they have a process where they can basically challenge like technical scores and something like that. So they challenged the score, and when they challenged it, she was awarded 0.1 of a point, which basically brought her into third place. So that's how she got the bronze. But what happened was, the lady that was in line to get the bronze from Romania, they were like, wait a second, this thing came too late, or complaining about it. So they said, oh, there's a rule, and if you're going to lodge a complaint, it has to happen within a minute of the transaction. But of course they didn't have the video live, so that's why they undid it right then and there. So then they went through the appeal process, and they're like, we have video where we basically show you that we did this like at like maybe 30 or 40 seconds in, and also did it again at 55 seconds in. So this is well within the minute. So this is like concrete, objective evidence. But they were basically like, nah, we still not going to review it. And, basically the person that made that decision was like an attorney or something, repping like Romania for something like that. So there's some muddy hands going on over here. But I mean, it seems like a bit of a tragedy because they basically established what it was based on the proper procedure, and then they took it away from her. So then they ended up giving it to that sister from Romania, and she's just like, look, we should both just have the bronze. And, that's kind of her position, but that's what's going on with that.
That's Jordan Childs, Edmund Jumper.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well, I hope you got this out of Brother Charles.
Yeah, didn't Flavor Flav give her some sort of bronze? You know what I mean? As a consolidation. You know what I mean?
Oh, man.
So she should be happy, you know.
I
mean?
Flavor
So
Flav. Hey, shout out to Flavor Flav. He was doing good work
as a Raider fan. Look, as a Raider fan, I wish we had some damn, reviews that we could go back on some games, and make some adjustments. You know what I mean? Let me say that.
That review failed y'all, the tuck rule, but so that's what it is. What we got up next? Mr. Floyd X.
Okay. This is something I want to speak on real quick. I should have pulled some images up, but I've been listening to these comedians all week, and it's just been pissing me off. Like, let's start off with our brother, Ricky Smiley. He says that if your friends or somebody is talking that Trump stuff, block them. And they like, she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha and Sigma Delta. When you want to focus so much on voting for Kamala Harris just because it's going to make history, that's not the way you go about this process. This is just my opinion right now. This is not the way you go about this process. And I wanted to title this section "When Comics Becomes Clowns," because I think our comedians are out here and they if you can't speak articulate on it or intelligently, please don't say nothing on it. We got Ricky Smiley, we got Steve Harvey, and then our dear brother, Mr. D.O. Hewley, who I greatly respect. He's on that same train. Have any of y'all watched it, or you seen it, or heard their comments?
I played the video. I actually posted the video. I was originally of the position that you took. I thought that's just not a place to go. I mean, we talked about how ridiculous it was for Biden to say, you ain't black. That's it's not your place to decide what black should do. Black is not a monolith. There's diversity of it. But when I played the video this morning, my understanding what he said, he goes, look, you have the right to vote for whoever you want to vote for, but the bottom line is keep that same energy. A lot of these black people come out of the woodwork.
Who you talking about, D.L. Hewley or Ricky Smiley?
I'm talking about Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley was saying that,
Okay.
look, he said that all these people come there, they're just piling on all of this history and all this stuff, talking about Kamala Harris, talking about what she prosecuted or whatever, and a lot of it's based on false information. He said, but they don't have nothing to say about Trump. So he's like, look, if you're gonna say something, save the same, keep that same energy. Talk about, criticize the stuff that he does as well. And he's like, and to me, it reminded me of the whole Obama situation. I kept talking about, like, boy, Cornel West is out here big time, talking about Obama. Then Trump, got elected president, and he wasn't coming up at all in my feed. Him or Tavis Smiley. And it was just like, these dudes are not Tavis Smiley. It was it might have been Tavis Smiley.
It's Tavis Smiley. Yeah. They got canceled under the Obama regime.
Well, I'm just saying that, it was funny. I'm like, so wait a second, is he complicit with? Is Donald Trump representing? Is he a fan of what Donald Trump is doing? Because I don't hear that same animosity and coverage and stuff like that. So I'm just saying it. I got what he was saying. He wasn't saying, he did say, he goes, look, if that's what you rock with, vote for you vote. He goes, the bottom line is this: if you don't vote for Kamala, you're basically voting for Trump. So make sure, if that's what you're doing, make sure that's what you're doing. So that's why.
Let's see what our brother from La Brea Trucking got to say. The point is, if you don't physically vote for Kamala, then you deserve all the BS that comes with Project 2025 and the dictatorship. I know Brother Charles got something to say to that.
Yeah, I definitely got something to say to that. But before I say something to that, let me say something to Ricky Smiley. F you, Ricky Smiley. Whatever you mean is focus up for clarity. You know what I mean? Focus up, brother. You know what I mean? Because, the thing is that, like the brother said, we're not a monolith. And there are plenty of reasons, why those of us don't support Kamala Harris. And me personally, I think this identity politics is ridiculous. Just because, of color, gender, wherever else, that's not a reason to vote for someone. We did that with Obama, you know what I mean? And I personally don't feel like Obama represented, not only our own personal best interests, but I don't think he did what was best for the nation, myself personally. But right now, when we look at what Kamala's been a part of and what she supported, right now, America's in 3 proxy wars. Look at the California cities, some of which, the state of its being is, a remnants of when she was in power.
We're about to get into that, Brother Charles. We're about to get into that.
Yes, sir. You know what I mean? But anyway, but my main point is that, I wish we could cue up that Biden clip we had from a week or two ago. You
ain't black.
You ain't black. We don't vote for me. Type of situation. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? And the last thing I say on it is we'll be speaking of some of these reasons and issues not only later on in this show, but also on Mutant Politics later this morning. So everyone is welcome to come rock with us and participate in that discussion.
That's what's up.
2024 election news, rock mutant politics with Brother Charles X and Mr. Nice Guy gonna be on there. I wish I could make it to the show, but I'm not gonna be able to make it to the show today, brothers.
That's all right. Cool. That's cool. So, what we got up next?
Next up, okay, this is probably you right here. Video of Israeli soldiers.
It goes without saying we're not about to play this video, but this was on CNN and they played this video. And I remember that Brother Charles X was talking about a lot of this stuff that was going on, but literally in the video, they take
real quick, brother, real quick. Sorry for interrupting you. I just want to get our viewers' comments in real quick. Just real quick. We got Brother Yusef said we need policies for us, okay? And then we got La Brea Trucker. I'm no Kamala fan. I care less about her color. I can't do Trump at all. And then we got Big Cuz. They only pander to us at election time. I'm assuming he's talking about the Democrats particularly.
And the media in general.
Okay. All right. Back to where we at. My bad, brother. Nice guy, but let's go.
So this is, this is the fallout with the whole Gaza, Palestinians, Hamas, and Israel. And they're showing Israeli soldiers literally grabbing up a male detainee and a Palestinian detainee and taking him over to a section and sodomizing him. I mean, this is a testament to why you can't give Israel a free pass for the things that go on over there. This is despicable and terrible. I mean, we know that the loss of life is just horrific, and it's been basically genocide after a fashion. But this is why you clearly can't give these free people a free pass. It's sort of like the whole police immunity thing. You can't have an Israel immunity thing. Everyone has to be held accountable. And this is on video. This is disgusting and terrible. So I mean, that's just remember, put a pin in this. When they tell you about, this side and that side, you just understand the horrific type of things that are going on over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no doubt about it. And the thing is that there's a long history of the IDF and in particular, raping men and women. You know what I mean? This has been going on for a long time, and it's part of why you see such the vigilance that you see in the Palestinians, and the resistance that they've shown through the years, is they're not just being disrespected, they are being brutally occupied and treated, in their own country, so the checkpoint abuse, that's a whole nother story right there. I remember when I first learned about a lot what was going on in those neck of the woods, whereas I was watching this documentary back in the day. It was called Slingshot Hip Hop. It was back in 2008. And they had this brother Tamir Nafar, who's a godfather of Palestinian hip hop, who founded this group called DAM, and that was stood for the Arab MCs, but they was just documenting live what they had to deal with, traveling to shows, trying to visit their family and whatnot. And I remember seeing this, I was like, damn, you know what I mean? And then Malcolm X, his stance, where he told us straight up, man, there's no reason why, so-called black people should not be standing, with Palestinians in solidarity. There's no way, you know what I mean? Yeah. But the last thing that I want to say, a few things real quick, is that, again, the Lancet, one of the world's oldest medical journals, when they're reporting the estimated Palestinian deaths, you hear in the media all the time that there's 40,000 confirmed. But the problem is that these deaths have been so horrific, that many of the bodies have not been recovered because they're buried underneath rubble. Some of the bombs that have been used have reduced people to ash. So just a conservative estimate that the Lancet, has come up with, and this was over a month ago, is actually more now, was 186,000 Palestinian deaths. Not 40,000, but over 186,000. And this is on the conservative side. So there's been well over, more than likely, 200,000 deaths, already inside this conflict. And then when we go back to that October 7th day, what's not talked about enough is of the 12,200 people who died that day, over half of them, some say it was at least 60% was killed by the IDF, because of, the different protocols they have in place, such as the Hannibal Directive. And this was detailed by an Israeli publication, the Hearts, which is real respected inside of Israel. The last thing I'm going to say is that, the powerful influence that the pro-Israel lobby has, in the U.S. is ridiculous. I think that the American people are weak as hell for allowing this type of influence to shape our politics, our policies, and the billions of dollars leaving, the country. Just recently, it was over 30 billion approved for Israel, just recently. It's just ridiculous, so that's all I have to say on the subject. It sickens me.
All right. So we got our brother Youssef. He says that the Israeli Defense Force trained American police.
That's correct.
Okay. Then we got because the ICC, is that an International Crime Commission or something?
Yeah, International Court. Yeah, Criminal Court.
International Criminal Court found Israel of war crimes and no warrants have been issued. If they're guilty of war crimes, that is. All right. Cool. Yes, sir. So, man, I'm not up on this that video. I haven't seen the video or anything yet, so I don't have much to say about it. I just know that Palestinians need to be freed and separated from the Israeli. I think it's a war. It's a crime. It's a war crime going on right now, and America ain't doing nothing about it because they are in cahoots with it.
Biting my tongue. So are we at a nice juncture to do some advertising? Hey, I want to shout out to Born Alive. Born Alive's got some music dropping, and he's also going to be performing at the Coliseum. So there's going to be a big old thing going on. So check that out. I don't have the time specifically, but sometime after the shows today. So go represent.
All right. I promise you, all of our viewers, I promise you, I'm working on new commercials. We're going to have new commercials, I promise.
For all your trucking needs, north, south, east, west. Salute to the bread truckers.
Salute to the bread truckers.
Turn up the dial, it's 10:30. Be back. Spin that back show, all the classics on track. From 79 to 99, we're crossing the gap. Album reviews, little known facts, hip hop intact. Saturday mornings, dive into the history. Samples and stories, old school mysteries. Early self-static, charades of TDG. No love out of pain. Turn it up, let the vinyl spin. 10:30 sharp, where the stories begin.
That's
we cover the recorded era of hip hop. We call it the recorded era because that's from 1979, the first record, to 1999. So old school hip hop. We talk about everything about it: the music, the DJs, the MCs. We're gonna talk about the video shows at some point. So tune in. Infamous El Poop. Spin that back.
Cool. Yes, sir. Score Bar and Lounge, a black-owned bar. If you want to go hang out, watch the games or something like that, go to the Score Bar and Lounge. It's at 7123 Franklin Boulevard. They got wings on Wednesday, tacos and tequila on Tuesday. Sunday, they got the brunch. They got karaoke. They have a special guest DJ, our sister DJ Diva. She be making appearances up there sometimes. You want to go check her out. Go log on to their Facebook page to get all the information. And this coming August 24th, they got the domino tournament. If you want to get your behind whipped in some dominoes, go to the tournament. So this coming the next Saturday, the 24th. And then Brother Charles X, I guess you want to give a special shout out to the event going on today that you probably going to attend tomorrow, brother.
Oh, yes, sir, brother. Might as well talk about the Banana Festival. It's the 13th annual Banana Festival. I've been every year. It's a wonderful event. A lot of good people that's out there that's worthy of your support. It's at William Land Park. It will be starting at 10 o'clock today and 10 o'clock tomorrow and going into the early evening. So I would say, if you're in the Sacramento area, that's the place to be, the Banana Festival, William Land Park.
Yep. It's a wonderful event. Me and my wife, we go out there as often as we can, every year almost. And a lot of the vendors that you see at the African market are there. We got the Brother Nasir and his family out there vending, and we having like some banana bean pies. You want a bean pie with the banana flavoring? Holler at that Brother Nasir the Banana Festival. They make a goal to make everything from bananas. So it's a whole lot of banana in going on over there.
Come, Mr. Tallyman.
That's right. Let's see what else we got here. Y'all ready to get back on the show? I don't think we got any more commercials coming.
Well, we're going to give a shout out to some black honey. So go bealive.org.
gonna throw that. You can visit the sister website, or you could go in person and pick you up some of that black honey. She's at the Petty Vice, located in Venice, California, and she's at Afro City Marketplace, located in the Crenshaw Mall. Holler at the sister for some. There you go, Mr. Nice Guy.
Some black honey.
All right. Shout out to the last one. Let's do the last one here real quick. Where's that at? Just gonna run this real quick. Test. Can y'all hear me? I'm trying something new out. Check out the Focuz Up Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We on Facebook, we on YouTube, we on Twitch, we on Twitter. Check us out. We're there. Tune in. The Focuz Up Show. Did y'all hear me?
Yep, we heard
Yes, sir.
Cool. Perfect. Trying something new. Let's see. We got a comment here real quick. Teach them, brother. Be laughing at something or smiling at something. Okay. Big Cuz, shout out to Big Cuz, one of our supporters. Much respect. All right, we gonna get into it now. Here we go. A word that was coined by our very own Mr. Nice Guy, Kamalaconomics. Let's get into it. Let me pull up the picture real quick. Kamala Harris, she gave a there you go. Kamalaconomics. Get used to it. We know somebody in the major media gonna steal it. We know they watching us. They gonna take it. Come on, Mr. Nice Guy, set the stage, man. Come on.
Okay, so Sister Kamala Harris, she did her rally over there at North Carolina, and this is where a lot of complaints was like she's doing a lot of just lip service and just a lot of just smooching and raising funds, but wasn't really saying much of anything. And people were saying that she's basically hiding her policy, but this was one of her situations where she literally laid out her policy. This was about her economic policy. So we're going to go into that. But yeah, she broke down a lot of stuff. And a lot of people complaining about some of the stuff, saying, oh, that won't work. But I mean, it's like, hey, I think about inflation. We know what caused the inflation. I mean, there's, I guess, a lot of games that are being played about that. But, when the economics are forcing businesses to do these type of things, I understand why you will tweak those prices. But when those circumstances come back to normal and you still got those prices raised, that's you gouging. That's just you being greedy. That's you making money. And that's the type of stuff that she was speaking on. So
all right, let me say this real quick. Go ahead.
I thought you were about to put on something. No, you pivoted. I thought you were about to come in and say something. I wasn't trying to monopolize the speak, but I mean that was one of the big criticisms, because she was talking about regulating inflation, as far as putting caps, as far as when he's on price gouging and stuff like that. So again, we're not talking about cutting your actual when your supply chains, when these expenses go up because of whatever reason, like for example, COVID happened, and then a lot of stuff wasn't functioning, as far as a lot of people weren't producing stuff because they were at home. So you had a lot of people that had money to purchase stuff, but there wasn't a lot of product being out there. So the bottom line is that you got that demand and supply type situation. And then plus they were having all these situations with the boats out there in the river that couldn't get anywhere. So you have problems in the supply chain. So these things will create real costs. So those have to be passed on to the consumer. But what happens is,
let me say.
Go ahead.
Let me say something real quick. That's a nice guy. Let me say something. Okay. All right. So we know that politicians are liars. We know that they make a whole bunch of promises during their campaign run. So this is where we're taking this with a grain of salt. What the Miss Harris is saying. I mean, it's everybody been complaining, say she ain't got nothing on the website talking about no policy or nothing. And so she finally had this situation where she gave this speech and unveiled her economic plan. So we're going to go into the bullet points of her economic plan, and we could talk about it. Y'all ready to talk about it? Let's start off with this one.
Before you do that, I need to put a footnote on something. You said that we know that politics are liars. I'm not going to just say that politicians are liars. I'm not going to
Yes.
just say that they're all liars. Sometimes they can't
tell
enact
lies.
things that they're trying to do. So, you know, some things are a function of you need other, you know, if you're a president, sometimes you need the Congress to help you, you know, fill out the thing that you're trying to do. So some of the stuff is your ambition and not living up to. But there is lying going on. I'm just saying that
If you promise you're gonna build a wall and you don't build a wall, are you lying or you just couldn't do it?
if you're saying he didn't complete the wall, I mean, he did build wall.
But
Right?
he said he was gonna complete it or something of that nature. He said
If
he's gonna finish the wall.
if he said he's going to complete it, that's a lie.
Okay. And then he said Mexico gonna pay for it.
And
He
that
lied.
was a lie.
All right. So politicians lie. So again, what Kamala Harris is saying with her plan, we just taking it with a grain of salt. We just going over what she says she's going to do. It's not going to be, oh, she's going to do that when I'm voting for, because that's how we get fooled most of the time. They say something, we believe it, and it never happens. So let's dive into her plan. Expanding affordable housing. Harris's plan pushes for the construction of 3 million new housing units over the next 4 years, along with what's described as the first ever tax incentive for builders building starter homes and first-time home buyers. Okay, is 3 million new housing units going to help?
Of course, it's going to help. It's not going to cure all the problems, but it's, I mean, you're talking about, I mean, I'm just telling you, it's a big difference between being a homeowner and the person that's, you know, renting and living in an apartment. You know, now your money is actually working towards you building equity. So, you know, based on the finances and dynamics of what's going on as far as your interest rate, your income, and all this stuff, the bottom line is you're building equity. You're building resources. So, I mean, it's a good thing. I mean, I know that her plan is not to be getting too ahead of it, but to help in the first time buyer type of situation. That's how I got my home. I took advantage of one of those first time buyer advantage programs, and I couldn't have been able to buy a home without it. So, I mean, I champion it.
All right, Mr. Brother Charles X, how you feel about that?
Yeah, bro. You know, this is again just, you know, the one thing that I'm noticing so far, and I've been reviewing, you know, the so-called, you know, these Kamalaconomics, I think brother calls it. You know, I like the term communism. You know what I'm saying? A lot better.
Damn.
You know what I mean? But the thing is that, you know, these she's just saying stuff. They're catering to ignorant voters, because the bottom line is one of the biggest challenges that America truly has is not that there's not enough homes and people can't, buy a home, because there's incentives right now for first-time buyers. The problem is, you know, people having jobs, you know what I mean, you know, and having, especially, you know, those, you know, who are, not necessarily, has a lot of education, you know what I mean? So entry type of level jobs that pay well and whatnot, you know what I mean? Something that's long term, you know, that's a big problem. And then the thing is that we have the dollar. The dollar is continuously, you know, getting weaker across the world, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. And so her plan, you know, this, you know, I know we're going to go point by point, but, you know, again, man, we're talking about a record 1.7 trillion economic plan that includes government controls on things. I mean, we're going to get to that part too, you know, but no, the housing is not an issue like that. You know what I mean? You know, right now, if you can't afford to pay for the house over a long period of time, you know, then you're going to lose the house anyway. You know what I mean? You know, so no, this is something, again, that's catering to ignorant voters in an attempt to, you know, get votes.
Our brother LeBrea Trucker says, I'm hearing unnecessary hate.
And you're gonna keep on hearing it too.
Who is that directed at? You know,
just saying that, you know, the male advocate has a little bit of testosterone and animosity, you know, towards the sister. But I mean, you know,
you can't say that, brother.
I'm saying
that nice guy.
Look, you, brother Charles X, you know I love you and respect you, brother. I'm just saying that you know that you are the male advocate. You tend to interpret things in a way that tends to defend males, right? Is that a fair category?
I mean, sometimes for sure. I definitely come to men's, defense, you know, in areas where it's warranted, right? You know, the police officer that was in the wrong, I'm not going to defend that, you know. But again, we're talking about the politics that's taking place right now. And again, we're talking about a woman, who has been, and I said it, a couple shows ago, is that what was going to happen was the media was going to transform Kamala Harris from a national embarrassment, into this pioneer. Glenn Greenwald, he said it, almost exactly like I said it, just recently, and then they're going to act like that, that we have to pretend not to care about anything that she thinks or believes. And we're going to see just how powerful the propaganda is and the media is. This woman was not liked at all just recently, And of course, she's been linked to everything that Biden's been doing because she's part of that administration. And so now all of a sudden we're seeing people
liked by this guy,
magazine covers and whatnot. And, bro, this is so obvious, of what's taking place here. They don't want Trump, and I get it. I don't necessarily want Trump either. I don't like none of them. To be quite honest with you, but, to act like that, this plan that she has, this economic plan, is going to be, anything different and transformative than what we've been dealing with the last 4 years. And then all of a sudden under Kamala, leading the so-called Democrat Party, then now we're going to come into this period of economic growth.
Here's the thing, Brother Charles. Here's the thing. I think her having a plan is a beginning. Because first we were saying she don't got no plan. She ain't got nothing written on the website. And now she lays out a plan. We know it's not written in stone, but now she has a plan. She made a statement, an agenda. Now she got to stand on that motherfucker. That's what we plan.
She do. And the plan is to get as many voters as possible.
Let's get the comments from our brother. Because he made a statement. He said, we've been waiting for her plan. We now have it as Trump can't stay on topic long enough to share his. Okay? Then we got the brother, who's going to buy the homes? People can't pay their mortgages now.
Does that point I was making?
Okay. No man wants a woman to rule his house. Let's get through these comments real quick. No man wants a woman to rule his house. Okay, I don't know about that. I know it's the White House and having a woman. I understand what you're saying, but we living in a new world, Mr. Brother Youssef. And we can talk about that too. And then he's saying yes, X. So I guess he I must have said something he agrees with.
Okay, so let me give you
last one. They made Trump the virus, the boogeyman. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Nice Guy.
So let me give you a personal testimony how these programs actually impacted me. Okay, so the first time program that I was involved with, what they do is that the county puts up a silent second. So basically, they give me $100,000 to add on to whatever down payment I'm going to do. And I pay no interest on that for 20 years. So now that brings the price of the house down way more affordable. So I've been living in my house here for probably about 15, 16 years. My mortgage is $1,700. If I were paying rent where I'm living right now, it would be way more than $1,700 dollars a month. I'm just telling you, it's a real impact. And just because I've just been living here, I've built up like maybe $200,000 of $300,000 of equity just living here. So I'm just saying that, these programs, they actually have an impact. And when you have people in houses versus people having apartments, they have an invested interest in the community. And it's a different situation. Like where I live right now, I know I live in Compton, but over here it's all houses. They ain't no apartments, and it's a completely different situation when you go over to the areas where the apartments are. So I'm just saying that's what I'm talking about.
So you're basing it off pending if she's able to go through with these plans, right?
I'm saying it, but I'm just saying these are the type of plans she talks about where you can get like a tax write-off or whatever, something. It's like a $25,000 down payment. I mean, those are the type of things that get you in the door. Go ahead.
But this is the thing. I mean, she's saying it. Okay, we got it. She's saying it now. Let's see if she can deliver, or let's see what's going if Trump is going to counter it. Because like I don't want to jump in and be like, oh yes, it's time to go. Let's go, Kamala. I'm sitting there. I'm with trepidation. I'm looking like, okay, let's see what is Trump's counter going to be.
I'm just saying it's a good policy. That's all I'm saying. It's not an issue about whether I understand that she's going to have to. Congress is going to. Any president, whether you're Republicans or the Democrats.
We understand all that. We understand that, nice guy. We understand that. All right, but Charles, you got anything else on this before we move on to
no? There's a couple other ones we should.
Another
about,
plan.
you know
I
what I
mean,
mean? So
I want to go to the other plans. I'm just saying, as far as
right,
the
exactly,
housing goes.
exactly. But
Okay.
this price gouging ban,
All right.
I'm eager to discuss that.
Where's the price gouging? Let me see. Okay, price gouging. The plan calls for what is described as the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food and groceries, though it doesn't offer much detail as how the proposal would be carried out. Speak on it, brother Charles.
Yeah, it sure doesn't, because first of all, I mean, this is so everything is so ridiculous that I'm hearing so far, right? So, and this is why really, when it comes to a president, I much prefer a president, who has been a successful businessman and or woman, you know what I mean? Because then now, we're dealing with people who know how to balance a budget and allocate resources. The government is not good at doing that at all. We've seen that time and time again. But how do you decide on if a grocery store is price gouging on food? You know what I mean? And then what happens is that, let's say that, the government comes in and they say, okay, I'm going to set a price that, eggs need to be this much. The people who produce the eggs, if that is not enough profit margin for them to have any incentive to produce the eggs and make it available to the public, then they're not going to even supply, that market, you know what I mean, and that reality. So then you have what's called a shortage. I mean, this is, again, why we're talking about Kamalaism, you know what I mean, is that, this isn't, we've seen this already. We've seen it in a failed Soviet state, you know what I mean, that, under, Putin, he changed a lot of those economic policies and whatnot, which has led to the prosperity that Russia is enjoying now. But these have been tried and failed already.
I mean, that you kind of made the argument how it would work, because again, when I really literally just spoke about this, I said, when you have margins, when you have things that are actually directly impacting these price increases, these tangible things, you have to let the capitalism, you have to let the market work. But once those situations go away, you can't just allow these people to keep reaping the benefits of those type of margins at the detriment of the people. So this is something that can be actually identified and can be regulated. It's possible. And the fact of the matter is, you're right. Putin, who you said is the greatest leader of the last 20 years of any country, he'll control prices. You're right. He'll regulate this, and he'll make sure that, this margin is going to be that and this specific. So this is not just allowing an invisible hand to shape economics, but actually enforcing it and having a policy.
But that's exactly what it is.
Real quick. Let's get to the comments. There's a lot of activity going on over there. Let's see what we got. Liberty Twitcher. Ridiculous. Any proper economist will tell you such regulations always fail. Always. He emphasized that always.
Yes, sir.
And then he doubled back on them. They're assuming we're so stupid that we think a mere ban on high prices could work without unintended consequences that are even worse.
Yeah,
right?
Liberty Twitcher knows what he's talking about. He's one of those educated voters. You know what I mean? Shout out to Liberty Twitcher.
All right, now we
and
got brother.
He's a repeat commenter, so definitely shout out to that brother.
Then we got brother Yusef. They can do it now. Shit, she's what you say? Shit, she's in office.
Basically, they saying they could have been in there. Whatever the policy she's talking about right now, they can implement it right now.
True point. Good point.
And why is it not helping America?
Good point, brother Yusef.
Because she's not the president. That's why.
Man, please, man, Biden's not the president. I want to know. We're going to talk about that on the Mutant Politics. Who is the president right now? Who's running the country? Who's making the calls right now?
We'll talk about
Liberty Twitcher, really? Are we that stupid now? OMG. I'm assuming that's the response to something.
The people, no, he's talking about the people in general, who were subscribing that were, be like, oh, okay, Kamala has some answers, to our problems and whatnot. You know what I mean?
It's a strategy. Yeah. It's not an issue of answers. It's the issue of a strategy. It's a game plan.
But it's a ridiculous strategy because, again, like Liberty Twitcher was saying, the unintended consequences. The bottom line is, so we're supposed to create a new government institution that's now going to tell business owners, that when they're making excessive profits, like they know anything about the grocery industry. The grocery industry in many occasions, they have what's called a lot of loss leader items, which means that they're taking a loss on those items just to get people in the store. And then you have more, some other items that actually have, bigger profit margins, and even then it's not like these grocery stores are getting rich, so what what's going to happen is we're going to destroy the food supply mechanism here in America, and we're going to rely on government to supply us with our food. That's called communism. That's something that does not work. That I definitely am not signing up for.
Putin,
and that alone is the reason why.
You said communism doesn't work. What's going over there in Russia? Is Russia not?
Russia's not doing communism in that facet, but like even China changed a lot of policies. Is it communism? They're no longer operating traditionally as a communist state. You have a more business and what we would call capitalism, that now has merged in with those philosophies and whatnot. And you're seeing both those, places, these countries, beginning to have a lot of power and strength now in the world, and that is actually gaining on, if not have surpassed America altogether.
Hey, real quick. Again, we got a whole bunch of comments. I want to try to address them all.
Hold on a second. My son-in-law is like pressing me. Give me a moment.
All right. Well, so we'll
let's see these comments.
Yeah. Sure. So we got Big Cuz, something Mr. Nice Guy was resonating with him. He said, "Preach, nice guy." And then we got this, but some of this might be insulting, so we got to take it with a grain of salt. Laugh out loud. What that guy's saying is just dumb, ridiculous. Learn basic economics, silly. I'm not sure if it was directed at you or brother.
It's not directed at me. I can tell you that right now. You know what I mean? I can guarantee you that.
All right, so we just taking it with a grain of salt. We Teflon. We can take the punches, but we gonna let y'all just be respectful. All right. And then they say there is only one thing that price control will result in: scarcity.
There it is.
Then our brother Yusuf, do it now. People needs relief. Okay, I agree with that. That was a good point he made. That she's in office, she could have helped assist in making that happen now. Why she talking about in the future?
Look. So Biden was willing to step down, right? Because he didn't want to be the one to sink the party or whatnot. So surely he'll be willing to allow some of Kamala's policies to be engaged, so we can see some tangible results and whatnot, and that can lock in, some real votes, showing some real relief. This is how ridiculous this is. They're just saying things to ignorant voters, who is going to just vote for the alternative to Trump, or to make history, with the first black woman president, and again, that's not a reason why to vote for Kamala, if you want to see, policies that, are going to take America to a worse point to where we are now, then vote for Kamala. Straight up, and I'm not, advocating that Trump is going to necessarily be better, but I think he will be, honestly, but definitely what we're hearing right now from this economic plan is just ridiculousness, at its core.
So what I'll make sure to do is in the comment section after the show, I'll drop in a whole plethora of things that she actually did accomplish. And again, I'm a testament. I'm living right now under these circumstances, under these type of dynamics that actually put me in a completely different financial situation. So I'm just saying that.
You're talking about something different. That's not what Kamala's saying. The first time home buyer plan that she has is what she says is that she's going to make it to where, we are building more 3 million new housing.
Put up that graphic. Put up the $25,000 graphic. Okay. Put up that one. So this, again, if you don't know the full policy, that's one thing. But I'm just telling you, this right here, this will significantly help. Now, I understand she's building more housing. Trump was talking about building more housing. I understand that they're both talking about that. But, one person is talking about homes, and the other person might be talking about domiciles where you live. But you having trouble finding it?
Kamala talking about some damn tiny homes. You know what I mean? You're having living some tiny homes stacked on one another.
You're muted, Floyd X. Are you doing that on purpose?
No. My bad. Let me go through the comments, brother. Look at California high minimum wages laws. What happened? Lost jobs, minimum wage laws, or price control on labor make them high, and you reduce the available jobs, and people lose jobs. All right.
Straight up.
Kamala never ran a business.
Never.
All right. Look at the price control of fuel in the 70s. Cars lined up for hours to put fuel in the car because the control created a shortage.
No, there was a shortage, and that's why it was controlled, because they didn't have none. So that's a mischaracterization of what happened with
No. We have more fuel than what we have now.
They had a shortage of gas, and that's why you could only get so much at a time. That's exactly what happened back then.
All right, remember, we are Teflon. We take the shots, we take the hit. So if somebody directed comments to us, we take the hit. This would look like it's brother Charles X believes Trump is the best thing since Lincoln. Go ahead, speak on it, brother Charles X.
Yeah, not at all. Because right now, just like the last election cycle, I abstained and didn't vote for either of the candidates. That's actually where I'm leaning at, for this time around too. I don't think neither of them have the best plan for America, and would take us in the right direction. You know what I mean? So more than likely I'll be abstaining again. But if you have put a gun to my head and said vote for either one, including Kennedy, then absolutely I'll pick Trump. No doubt about it.
All right.
And what would you do, Floyd X?
As far as what?
If they put a gun to your head and said, who would you vote for? And it comes down to Trump or Kennedy or Kamala Harris.
They tell me to pick one.
They say if you got a gun, you have to vote for someone. He gave an example.
Okay.
He said if a gun to his head, he
gonna vote for Trump.
And I'm just saying, who would you vote for?
I'll go with Kamala.
And you're an intelligent, rational person, right? I just want to present that because a lot of times the context is acting like you got to be a dummy to take this position. And I'm just saying that that's kind of an insult. I'm not saying that you were being insulting, Brother Charles X. I'm just saying that, there's rational people coming to this decision, just like there's rational people coming to the other decision.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get why a lot of our people in general will want to lean and go with Kamala over Trump. Trump's not very likable, at all. He's had some poor performances in front of us and didn't really represent our interests, So, I get it, and wanting to see someone that looks like you, those are powerful.
I don't give a damn about that. I think that's like an insult. I'm sure that some people do that, but I mean, we diminish, her by reducing her to that. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I lean on her because of the policies. I don't care about what she looks like. I don't care about the way that she pees. I'm just saying that those policies actually line up with my policies more than the other guy. That's strictly my reason for doing it. So when we talk about these businesses regulating rules and stuff like that, there's all type of regulations in business that actually help us. You want to talk about constricting economics, Trump is putting all these tariffs and stuff like that. These things do the same thing. He's doing it because he has an agenda. And I'm just saying that it's okay to pursue agenda and take a financial loss if that's going to benefit the people. And that's what happens when we have regulations on food, when we have regulations on smoking, when we have regulations on all of the type of stuff that would be dangerous to us. So I'm just saying that
I think this was directed at you, Mr. Nice Guy from Brother Yusuf. So we Teflon.
It is nice.
We take this shot. We take these shots. But the brother Liberty Twitcher said, I don't even know, brother. Just Liberty Twitcher said, I don't like Trump, but I have to vote for him.
And I respect that. That's a legitimate position to take. Now, to say that she's a crazy leftist, I mean, he's a crazy rightist. I don't understand the extreme thing. It's like he's such an obvious extreme. He ain't going right over the center plate type situation.
Hey, our brother LeBread Trucker says, I'm scared of what Trump plans to do to our people and communities.
I respectfully to La Brea, I think it's irrational. We've actually had Trump in power for 4 years already, and there was nothing but we benefited from him being in that position for those 4 years. And whatnot. There was no, KKK that came to our houses. We wasn't thrown in jails and prisons and whatnot.
I want to challenge you, brother Charles. I want to challenge you. How do you feel about him saying, what's it say? Blanket immunity for cops.
Yeah,
that's different.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that policy. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm confused to why he would have that position based on where he's at right now. We're going to talk about mutant politics here in a moment, but from all accounts, or not all accounts, but from several different, accounts that we're looking at right now in terms of what people are saying, various sources.
I just had to get at the big cuz, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, right now it appears that there's a plan to actually put, Trump over at Rikers Island. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it is confusing as to why he would have that position. You know what I mean? He dealt with it real weakly at the black journalists, a meeting. No doubt about it. You know what I mean? But again, if we're looking at policies, and we're going head to head with policies, man, we didn't saw what 4 years of Biden and Harris and Democrat policies has done to this country. We're still on the verge of World War III. I mean, there's a million reasons why not to support Kamala Harris, and her policies. A million reasons.
A good point. I'm not a Trump supporter, but he actually did well. Okay, that's from Liberty Twitch.
And again, that's your interpretation. We act like he didn't put a battery in racist people's back. You didn't realize that he sort of like boosted up Karens and stuff like that. There was a big impact of him being president. You talk about his policies. You talking about, you can. I'm sure that there's a lot of things that you can criticize Kamala or Biden about, particularly. But when you talk about Trump, there's going to be a lot of criticism there. Hey, brother Charles X, you watch Star Trek, right? I'm gonna make a quick little Star Trek analogy. Now you know how Picard runs the ship. He's really tight vested type, such and like that. His number 2, is Riker. When Picard moves away, when Picard and Riker are there, they work one sort of way. But when Picard ends up being like captured by the Borg, Riker is gonna run the Enterprise like he runs it. It's going to be his thing. So the fact that he was number 2, or number 1, underneath him, doesn't mean that it won't be different when he's sitting in the captain's chair. And I'm just saying that to sit here and say that the fact that she was in the White House, it's a difference when you're sitting in the captain's chair when you basically, number 2. It's a difference.
Yeah, but there won't be a difference here because, again, it is that the deep state, these unelected officials who's really running the Democrat Party, and they're going to prop something in front of you, that they think gives them a better chance of beating Trump at the end of the day. This is why undemocratically, Biden was forced out of the election, and they brought in Kamala because Biden wasn't doing so well. You know what I mean?
Real quick. Do anybody here believe that Trump is a racist?
No, I don't believe Trump is a racist at all.
Mr. Nice Guy.
I think it's ridiculous that that's the position that people throw out and take and whatnot. Right now, we have a Kamala Harris and a Biden administration that's supporting the biggest racists on the planet, the Israeli government. You know what I'm saying?
I'll answer your question, but you got to answer my one question first to qualify it. Is if you see the problem with you talking about, is he racist? He's absolutely racist by policy. You know what I'm saying? I think that white people have a trip. They always say, I don't see color. And they like, I just want to be, white, white, black. I don't want to, I just see color. But the problem is their concept of regular, their base, it's white. And anything that's black is something that they view kind of hostilely. So I'm just saying that I really believe that Trump loves black people that buy into his policies or that act like him or whatever. So I'm saying I don't think he has a problem with black skin. I think he has a problem with black politics. So that's what I'm talking about.
So is that a yes or a no?
I say yes, because that's the most. I'm curious to know what black politics is. Is it like supporting the LGBTQ agenda and whatnot, and then that makes us, a black politic? Is it black politics would be reparations? Black politics would be teaching, black history in school. Black politics would be, sensitivity to, the things that black people have to go through that white people don't have to go through, and why that's the case. So I'm just saying that those are real black politics. I'm not talking about whether, you believe in the Democrat or Republican. That ain't black or white. I'm just talking about
the bread trucker trying to remind it. He said those were a fine bunch of people. Talk about those tiki torch carrying.
That was debunked though. Hey, bro, look, I remind you about that too. Is that when they were walking down the street, they wasn't marching down the street saying, "I hate niggas, I hate spics." They wasn't saying none of that. They were saying Jews won't replace us. You know what I'm saying? And they were talking about specifically the policies that, you know, that Israel, you know, and the Zionists have on the grip they have on this nation. You know, and the billions of dollars that are going out of this nation that should be here supporting the people of this nation, regardless of class, creed, or color. That's what that was about. I remind people about that.
Hey, we're gonna end the show. I'm ready. I just want to see. Hopefully, I got the right.
Hey, share, like, subscribe. You know, thanks all the comments. You guys don't have to agree with us. We're not a monolith. We got obviously diverse opinions on this platform, and we appreciate y'all and you continue to support. And we'll be here for you to either support or chastise or educate or whatever you do. But we appreciate you. Thanks for watching.
Yes, sir. Shout out.
Focus Up Network. Salute. Membership. Salute. Appreciate you.